Assalamualaikum and greeting everyone. Hi, my name is Asma Syuhada Aminuddin. I am from Product Development Technology Program. My supervisor is Prof. Madia Dr. Pasan Sanasi bin Abdullah. Now I will present my final year project entitled Effect of Compost made with kitchen waste towards the growth of the water spinach Euphorbia aquatica. First, let's begin with introduction, which consists of the research background, problem statement, and objective of the study. For research background, firstly, according to Mahmoud et al. 2019 state, the kitchen waste is a leftover of solid waste production during preparing and processing of food from the kitchen, usually in a bulk quantities of the total solid waste. It is also a part of domestic waste. Composting is also organic materials decomposed into a simpler organic compound in an aerobic process by microorganism by Ailara et al. 2020. Usually, compost process takes 3 to 6 months, but reaching the compost become matured takes around 3 to 4 months before use by Mahmoud et al. 2019. Water spinach is suited to be planted due to the widely growing naturally in water or moist soil with the needed list of care. Hence, the present of study mainly focus on the effect of kitchen waste composting by showing an impact of the growth of water spinach with the following objective. So, for the problem statement, firstly, management of municipal solid waste still use an old method, just only collected, transported and also disposed into landfill. So the waste become not as the resource due to the limited recycle into beneficial product. Second, households generate large amount of kitchen waste every day. So their method of handling the kitchen waste to dispose just throw away. All the waste are throwing an open dump field land site. So this condition lead to the environmental quality to deteriorate. As an alternative, using a composting process will help convert this kitchen waste into a more beneficial organic waste for a plant grow. So let's move to objective. The primary objective actually is to use organic kitchen waste for compost making. Then the several objectives to be attained are to measure the effect of kitchen waste composting and to monitor the impact of kitchen waste compost on the growth of water spinach Euphorbia aquatica. So let's go to the literature review chapter, which I will expand all the influence that I want to investigate from the literature and also the scholar. In composting process need 4 main component: organic matter, moisture, oxygen and also microorganism. Organic matter decomposed by microorganism with oxygen and moisture as the main factor, while the temperature result from the microbial growth and activities in the composting process according to Epstein 2017. Proper composting need an adequate carbon to nitrogen ratio as essential properties by Fuchs and Kujipers 2016. The important role of microorganisms in composting for the carry out the first stage of the composting process by Van der Wolf et al. 2016. Aerobic composting method as the process by which organic waste are converted into the compost in the presence of oxygen by Chai et al. 2018. Effective organism and effective organic additive help to accelerate the process of the composting by producing the high quality of the final compost by Khaled 2016. And finally, visual screening moisture content and pH can provide a preliminary assessment of the compost quality. The following element to check temperature, color, odor and plant material non-degraded by Sullivan and Miller 2001. For methodology chapter, I have listed all the component and material that I needed to use to complete my project. Start with the flowchart of preparation of compost with effective microorganism that started with the collecting kitchen waste. Then, follow the pre-processing the organic matter by screening, shredding, sorting, removal of foreign object. Next, the preparation of compost mixture by put down a thin layer of brown material followed with a green material. The activation of effective microorganism following 7 days of ferment that apply to the compost. Then wait for the composting stage up to duration up to 1 to 2 months. After that, post-processing the compost by the screening, separation and mixing. Finally, the compost is added to the soil for the growth of the water spinach plant. Next is the flow diagram of my work flowchart. Starting with the preparation making compost sample with effective microorganism. There are 4 treatments of compost. Treatment 1 is compost, which is control. Treatment 2 is compost added with EM of 10 ml. Treatment 3 is compost added with EM of 20 ml. Treatment 4, compost that added EM of 40 ml. Next, sampling and data collection of water spinach growth. The growth performance of water spinach observed by following parameters given in the height of the plant, length of the root, and the length of the leaf. Finally, based on the data obtained, the statistical analysis was performed for mean and standard deviation of value on 12 samples which taken for analyzed by one-way analysis of the variance ANOVA. With an additional test of force-Hall analysis of 2 key, HHD was performed to determine the group of the sample that contain mean that are significantly different. In the table, show the material that added in the treatment of the compost. The plus sign is the material that added in the compost, while a minus sign is the material is not added in the treatment of the compost. Now, I have done with chapter 3, then move to the chapter 4, which is result and discussion. Okay, for the treatment of compost, the observation of compost for the final product can refer to the table result of visual screening compost treatment. Show all the material decomposed except the eggshell and a few delicate branch, with the texture showed is crumbly and smooth with an earthy smell. The use of effective microorganisms in organic matter composting produce a positive result in terms of the breakdown and mineralization. When compared to compost without EM, the result revealed that EM compost have a faster decomposition rate, which is rich in nutrient, has more microbial activity, with a better germination with higher yields. From the table show the initial pH for treatment of compost show the range between 5 to 6 due to home compost usually with a mix of the vegetable trimmings, food waste and other household biodegradable material, with their initial pH likely to be more acidic that range between 5 and 7. In comparison, the final pH for all the treatment compost overall showed in 8 except for the treatment 4 in 7.5. Length of root water spinach. Their result revealed that the highest length of the root was the exhibited in treatment 4, which 139.40 minus plus with 12.82 mm. Treatment 1 accumulated the least amount in the length of the root with 80.60 minus plus with 21.58 mm. However, the treatment 3 and treatment 2 results are nearly similar. It showed that a statistically significant difference using 2 key HHD post-Hall analysis in the mean length of water spinach root between the compost treatment that took T1 and T4. However, there are no difference between the treatment of T2 and T3. Okay, next for plant height result revealed that the highest plant height was exhibited in treatment 4, 305.40 minus plus 35.21 mm. T1 accumulate the least amount in plant height with 23.20 that follow with T2 and T3 for another treatment. In addition, it showed that statistically significant difference using 2 key HHD post analysis in the mean height of the water spinach plant between the compost treatment that took the T1 and T4 treatment. However, there are no difference between the treatment of T2 and T3. Okay, for the length of the leaf result revealed that the highest length of leaf was exhibited in treatment 2, which is 61.40 minus plus with 6.07 mm. Treatment 1 accumulated the least amount in the length of the leaf with 56.80 minus plus with 4.97 mm. However, the treatment 3 and treatment 4 results are nearly similar. In addition, it showed a statistically no significant difference using 2 key HHD post-Hall analysis in the mean length of water spinach leaf between the compost treatment that took the treatment 1, treatment 2 and treatment 3 and 4 of the treatment. For ANOVA, they show there are statistical difference in the mean length of water spinach roots between the treatment of compost, which is P is less than 0.05. For height water spinach, show there are statistical difference in the mean height of the water spinach between the treatment of the compost, which is P less than 0.05. Therefore, there are statistically no difference in the mean length of water spinach leaf between the compost treatment, which is P more than 0.05. Okay, finally, chapter 5 is conclusion and recommendation. For the conclusion, to determine the utilizing organic kitchen waste for compost making, we measuring the effect of kitchen composting by measuring their pH using a 3-way soil meter and screening their physical, visual in texture, odor and color. Compost for the final product show all the material decomposed except the eggshell and a few branch. Second, monitoring the effect of water spinach. Grow by the different treatment of kitchen waste. Compost using a composting process. T4, T3 and T2 treatment of compost produce a better result than control treatment T1 in many things such as length of the roots, plant height and length of the leaf. Okay, for a recommendation, Kitchen waste also requires a measuring heavy metal content due to its toxicity. Varied composting methods have altered the nutrient status of the compost. But to achieve the compost quality, the compost must meet the standard limit. Next, the application of compost can be modified into education practice such as pest control and fertilizer that will remain to deliver challenge for the future. I think that's all for my year project presentation. Thank you.